I'm Beau Patterson. My company is Please Rise. We're in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. The program I work with is called the Young Men of Honor. It's the Spencer Elementary School in Savannah, Georgia. It's young men, 30 young men, African-American young men, who are 4th and 5th graders, who are in a depressed area of the city of Savannah, who have either single parents or poverty or other indications that they will not succeed. Dorothy Jackson has taken these young men over the last 3 years and worked with them tirelessly as a paraprofessional at the school, unpaid, and has now caused these young men, with our help, to become the highest achieving students at their school. Not only are they exceptional and honor students, but they are also involved in community activities, that they're now teaching their parents to read and write, that they're now getting their parents involved in the school and parent-teachers association meetings. We have the president of Carver State Bank. We have, professors of economics at the Savannah State University, Armstrong Atlanta University. We have entrepreneurs and other businessmen, other lawyers, doctors, and dentists who are all African-American men in the general community, both here on the island and in Savannah. Our organization covers the low country. These 20 men give of their time, and we do give some money to the school, and provided, for example, these young men with a trip. All 30 young men were able to go to the Birmingham Civil Rights Museum with 2 chaperones and take a weekend trip to get an idea about what the success and what the history of African American culture has been for folks in the South, like they are. And as a result of that, these men came back, and now they're writing stories that we'll hear over the next couple of months of their experiences there. We helped to provide that trip by making contributions. High school drama teacher, Ralph Beagle. I have a story about him that I'm not going to tell now, but the story is titled, I Have A Beagle. And it's about my coming to school after I'd been involved with the theater, and he'd been mentoring me. And a couple of my buddies, we decided this is going to be a day we're going to come to school with our beer and wine. And so we got over to my buddy's house, and we were drinking and everything before school. Got there. I'm a junior in high school. I'm drunk. And just as I walk in the door, who do I run into? Ralph Beagle. He gets a whiff of my breath. He says, "Come with me. You're coming up to my office. I'm writing you a slip for the rest of your class today, and you're going to sleep it off in here." 2 of my buddies weren't so lucky. The coach caught them, and they got kicked out. As a result of that, Beagle said to me and talked to me about what I could do and what I could be. And through him, I became best speaker in our high school, and I became the graduation speaker at our high school the next year. So in 1 year, I guess his influences, more than anything, to show me that I could be more than just kind of hang out cool and fun-loving Beau. And I became really as much of who I am today through the year that I spent with Ralph Beagle, my last 2 years in high school. First, I was a criminal defense lawyer before I went on the bench, and I saw persons who had troubles in their lives and who were faced with criminal complaints, and I had to defend them. And I realized there were things that had gone on in their lives that I could see. It's just like, this is a script. You can write this script in so many lives, and you can see that this is going to, I knew what the end result would be. And so I said, let me come up with a plan that helps these men and move beyond this life of crime. And what I found was a support system, another man to talk to, someone that could tell them, yes, even if you can't read or write now, if you learn to read, that can be an option. Even if you don't see how you can get out of drugs now, if you if you take this course, if you go to these classes, you might understand more about yourself. Really what it comes down to is how do you learn more about who you really are? I believe that it took me a long time growing up to kind of find out who I was. I might have been an oddball kid, and many of the people I saw in court were kind of oddball people. They weren't like everybody else. And so what does that mean for you? Once you begin to believe and have self-esteem and know that there's something good in who you are, then I think there's an opportunity for you to take that good and take it in any direction you want. Bob Evans, he was down and out on drugs, just having a really difficult time. And of course he was arrested and brought to my courtroom. And I just saw something in Bob that just said, you can do more than this. He would bring in some artwork when he was coming to court and show me his artwork. I said, well, why don't you think about getting a gallery? And he'd come back the next time and he'd be arrested on drugs. And so I put him in another program and set him out there. And then I finally had to put him in jail for several months, and he came back out. And so I kept working with him. And then finally, on my retirement day, he showed up with this portrait that he had stenciled of me in my robe. And it was presented to me. The mayor was there and all these folks. It was presented to me. It's tearful for me now to even think about it. And he told me, he said, Judge, thank you, because now I have a small gallery. I'm doing painting, and this is the first painting I wanted to do was for you. And it's hanging in my wall right now in my office here in Hilton here. That's enough reason for me to know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And if you continue to do it, even when it looks bleak, then something good can come of it for not just you, but for others. How do you become a judge? And I said, well, it's very simple. You go to high school, you go to college, you go to law school, you practice law for at least minimum 5 years, then you apply and become a judge. And they say, it seems like it might be a little more difficult than that. But really that's all it takes. With the kind of nurturing, the kind of supervision, the kind of support system I had, it really was simple. What was more difficult was understanding that all those challenges and experiences you had give you the core beliefs that you can make decisions that will benefit others, that you can help transform lives. What I called my job was a job of transformation. I participated in the transformation of lives. That means of the 200,000 people that I saw over my 20-year career on the bench in Denver, there are several lives that have been transformed. Some I wasn't successful, but many I was successful. I was the first African-American chief presiding judge. As a result of that, I got an opportunity to go out to the schools, to the Kiwanis clubs, and all these other places in the community and preach about the gift of giving a second chance to those who might be less fortunate. And I learned from that I have a duty and responsibility to continue to participate in the transformation of lives beyond the bench.